actually some export item to be loaded for these ships. And he started going forward and investing money on that, studying the market and the need and the resources needed, and thinking about the possible, competition and if there would be really a market for this. And pretty soon he found out that there will be. And one of the resources was me, who was hired last year in January. And my task was basically is as simple as that when the smarter guys than I had been thinking about what to do, then my task is to take this from the R&D company level to a company that works internationally and is capable for operating over there profitably. And that's what I've been doing. And the first thing we did was actually that we had this Finnish consultation company, like I said earlier, to study 24 countries, what are the requirements for the fertilizer globally. And then I gave that to the chemists. Yes, please go ahead and design a process that can actually do it. They got it done last year, November, and then the final design works for the factory was completed, so that in late May this year, we got the production out from the factory. So the factory is ready and it's capable for producing product that fulfills all the known requirements for the fertilizers in the world. We are the only ones who have this kind of a chemical technology to do it.
So basically the input to the fertilizer are from the batteries?
Yes.
Meaning that you need to source out the batteries. That would be your raw materials.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
So the question now is how much of that market of the raw materials you could get access to?
That's a very good question. First of all, roughly about how much of these are really there. Like I said, 10 billion of these are used every year globally, but of course a lot of it has been thrown away. In Europe, the amount of alkaline batteries collected every year is about 100,000 tons, which means that in Europe alone, there could be 30 to 40 of these full-scale factories operating with that amount what's collected in Europe.
And Europe or globally?
Europe only. Europe only. And then it just gets bigger and bigger globally. So the same in US, the amount what's collected and used, you could have 30 companies over there running with this material. So it's a huge amount available. And then another question might be that, okay, who knows if these will last in the future? Or are there new technologies coming in? And there are, of course, many studies being done regarding that issue. And the outcome of those studies is that, at the moment, already for years, there's been a growth of about 5 to 6% per year on the usage of these alkaline batteries. And they see that it will continue to grow at the same steady pace for the short and medium term. And the reasons being, for example, that the amount of electrical items, appliances, it's getting more and more all the time. So there will be, if not all the time used alkaline batteries, at least the initial assembly batteries are alkaline batteries. That's one. And it's not only us as consumers, but it's the industry, it's the healthcare, it's the army who's using them a lot. So that's maybe number 3 reason why in the short and long term, short and medium term, there will be a steady growth of about 5 to 6% per year. Number 2 reason is that these developing economies in the world, they are only converting from an earlier technology, which is zinc carbon batteries. They are only now converting to alkaline batteries. So, it will take years and years before they've even reached the same amount of alkaline battery usage what we have here in Europe. And maybe the number one reason on a short and medium term why there will be enough of these is the fact that this recycling is getting more and more improved, and the amount is getting much bigger. So now in Europe we have a law that 50% you should be collecting these or recycling. Finland and Sweden are over there on 50, but then there are many countries in Europe which are in 20 or 30, and it can be really low. And even then, when thinking about the recycling, it's still the zinc smelters where manganese and potassium are thrown away and they have to pay a lot. So just thinking that even though if there's a possibility to utilize them like our technology is providing, you can get much more efficiently with a lower cost. You are getting also the manganese and potassium salvaged. So there's a great deal of possibilities.
So do you already have a factory somewhere taking them apart?
Yes, yes.
And there's people there saying, so
kind of.
do it?
Yeah, kind of. Yes, kind of. I will tell you, okay, is it regarding this availability of these? I still have a long reply.
I just have a follow-up question on that, what you just mentioned.
Yes.
To follow up on that is, as you mentioned, it's part of the circular economy of the recycling world. And now the question is, to what extent, what would that be replacing chemical fertilizers?
Yes, yes.
Would that be enough to replace chemical fertilizers?
Not all of them. Not all of them, by no means. No, not all of them, by no means. But well, in a way, if you think about the zinc and manganese chemical fertilizers, it could be, because if you got all of that out, like I said earlier, you could take care of all the zinc and manganese deficiencies in the arable land in the whole world. So in theory, if you got all of that out of these 10 billion which are used, you could replace zinc and manganese-based fertilizers, but not the others. Good question, good question. And I will come to yours as well. Very good questions. That's very good, because then I know what I need to answer. But still thinking about the availability of this raw material. So those were the number 3 best reasons why in a short and medium term there will be these available. Then thinking about long term and comparing the capabilities and the qualities of these kind of batteries to rechargeable technologies. Now, I'm pretty sure that if one of you sometime had a rechargeable batteries at home and you recharge them, you put them on a drawer, or they were in a torch or something like that, and you took it out after half a year, there was probably no power whatsoever. Well, with these kind of batteries, the normal shelf life is 3 to 4 years, and even up to 10 years on a better brands. So they really held up their performance for a long time. That's why they are number 1 choice for example, emergency lighting and torches and things like that. They have a superior qualities regarding compared to these rechargeable technologies. Also, they work in a very, very wide range of temperatures, -40 to +40. You take the rechargeable battery to over there to -40. I don't know, my iPhone goes blank when it's -10. But anyway, that is roughly one of the things. They are readily available, low cost compared to the power generation, and less of these harmful toxic metals on them. So there are many good reasons. One of the reasons is also that the heavy duty applications like the water buoys, the buoys, how you say it?
Boilers? Are you talking about boilers?
Yeah, if it's on the water and there's light on it.
In marine.
Marine.
Okay. So
Yeah, not boiler, but a light that floats on the water. And those have actually...
Boy.
Okay, yeah, I take your word for that. We use that. I don't say it anymore. So they have actually that much, that thick, and this long, this kind of a series of alkaline batteries in them. Because they can operate in wide range of temperatures and in harsh conditions, and they can provide really a high output required for these heavy-duty applications. So they have this kind of benefits, and those are considered to be the main reason why in the long term the amount of produced alkaline batteries is not getting lower at all. Not to even mention then that there's actually rechargeable alkaline technologies present, which are very, very beneficial compared to some of the traditional ones, traditional rechargeable technologies. But not taking that into consideration, still those were the reasons why, I guess, unfortunately for the world, these are still remaining for a long, long time in the presence. But as long as they've been recycled with our method, then it's not bad for the world. But a good question about the availability of these. And then you were asking about this factory. Yes, we do have factory in the middle of the Finland, really in the middle of the Finland. It's kind of in the middle of the nowhere as well. But logistically, it's good. And because we are cooperating with this company called Akkuser in Finland, to whom actually all the collected batteries go to, and then they are shredding it and making it to a black mass. So actually they are doing it for us, and then we are taking the black mass and converting it to this fertilizer. So there's synergies available in that sense. I will actually have some pictures as well, but this is out of one room, half of one room in our factory, and we have 5 these kind of rooms.
One important thing is that Akkuser is doing the thing what everybody else can do in the world also. So they are only taking the metal out of the battery, and the black mass is the big thing what anybody else can handle than TraceGrow.
Yeah, we are the only company who can then take it from there on and to get these heavy metals out. So that's the differentiating point.
You were talking about short range and medium range. How many years is medium range?
Actually on these studies it was not very clear. They were thinking about 10, 20, something like that. Short term being the next 5 years, and long term then from there on. Okay.
You sold some of the production already?
Not yet. We are negotiating because we got actually the permission certificates for the sales of the product in first week of June this year. And I will tell you more about that later on. But yeah, not yet. But we are negotiating now currently in 5 different countries about the sales of the technology. And regarding the end product sales, we have now a distributor for Finland, Berner. And then we have a distributor for the Baltics, and then actually we are having discussions going on in multiple countries at the moment regarding that. Next year will be the main year when we actually enter into market because of the certifications we got only in June. Good. Okay, so globally operating company, that's what we need to do. It's nice that we've done all the research, but we have to get it sold, and so to do that we have to be global company. The amount of arable land in Finland is something like 0.5% of our potential. So clearly, while this can answer to many of these global challenges what we have in the world regarding the food production and water, spoiling waters and eutrophication and pollution, more and more garbage and the climate change. Of course, we need to go outside as well and provide our solution to those countries that need it. And for that, what we've done is that we've, of course, starting from the beginning, we have identified mission, vision, and strategy. It's like, I always say that no matter how big the elephant is, if you just start eating, from the tail or somewhere, you can crunch it. And that's what we've done. In addition to that, we need to have, of course, the right technology. For that, we have 2 patents pending. Now we have the positive, mediate results. So we are just waiting to get them out. We have a quality system under preparation and a project model.
The patent is European, Finnish, or global?
At the moment, it's of course when you file it, it's basic. Oh, I can't take it out because I have the mic. Let's see. Maybe I can still take it. So when you file it, they study globally the requirements. And we got the approval, or let's say a statement from this Finnish government's patent authority saying that there's no difficulties, so it's patentable. And they studied the global requirements and the global market. Now, when we are cutting them out, hopefully I'm not too loud. Now, when it's very close, can you fix it? I mean, if it's too loud, I don't know if it is, but
I think it's good. I will add.
Okay, good.
Go on.
So then when they come out, we can choose for which countries we are expanding it. And we will of course go quite widely. The only thing is that we've been having discussions with one main company in Finland that's very big internationally, and they said that there are some countries where it really doesn't pay any, it's not really worth it. You are basically just giving it out and the information, and they won't follow up the patents anyway. But Europe, North America, Australia, Oceania, of course, yeah. That's a good question too. Now, this project model we have also created together with one of the top companies in Finland, exporting this kind of a technology, or let's say technology, around the world, meaning that we know how we can do it. But then the main thing is the right people. And if I have learned something myself through my career is that when you go far enough and wide enough, it's very little that I know. So need to have the right people around and in our team, and then we can get the thing done. And to do that, first of all, we have a very professional board in our company. There are members who are running the operations in Finland, responsible for the complete operations in Finland. Then we have very proficient senior advisor team. So there's, for example, Mr. Lasse Saurio, who used to be Valmet Pulp and Energy's former vice president of legal operations, has single-handedly made $1 billion deals to South America, exporting pulp lines, for example. So he's over there assisting us on the technology side. And then we have, for example, on the end product side, we have Mr. Kari Tiilikkala, who's also retired actually a month ago. Used to work for Luke, which is the highest authority in Finland responsible for the natural resources, and is also overseeing all these kind of fertilizer factories in Finland. And he used to be over there a research professor and a doctor. So he's working for us on the end product side. And just to name few. So, and this is something what we are expanding. I think the next case will be North and South America. So we want to have a global presence on these as well. So we need to have the right people, and for that I mentioned about Berner, and actually this is one part of them. I don't know if you know this company. And Berner, of course, has a presence here in Sweden too. They are 135 years old, Finnish family-based company. It was a Norwegian guy who came to Finland and established the company and stayed over there. So they've been actually testing our product for the past 3 years. And during that, we've been getting vital feedback from them on how to develop the product and how to make it such that it really fulfills the requirements of the farmers. So they are now, after these 3 years of development work, they are now our exclusive distributor for Finland. And then, if thinking about technology, again, it's not us as a small company who's guaranteeing a technology buyer globally that this kind of a factory is built on time and on the money. No, it's Pöyry, another Finnish company, 60 years old, more than 5,000 employees, works in 40 plus countries. And so they are our partner on the technology delivery side. Wherever we are selling a factory, it's actually Pöyry who's then designing and projecting that factory to the Pöyry. Yes.
How do you pronounce it?
Pöyry.
Oh, Pöyry. Okay.
Yeah. I just took the Swedish side.
The headquarters is next to my office.
Okay. Yeah.
I didn't know. I didn't know it's Pöyry.
Yeah. Okay. Are you coming to the 60th anniversary?
No, I'm not working for them. My office, I work for SIDA, for the Swedish Development Aid Agency. Our office is next to them.
Okay. Well, maybe you can talk with them and they can invite you. It's a good party in Finland coming up soon. I'm gonna be over there roasted, so you might see me, red over there, being roasted. But anyway, so it's not us. Again, it's very important for us kind of so that we can grow globally and we can really take this unique innovation forward so that it remains here in Nordics and not someone from China is buying it, that we do that with the best possible resources, and for that we need big industrial partners like we have Pöyry and Berner. Okay, so we need the right people, right partners with the right attitude, because without the right attitude, without the passion, no matter what you know, no matter how skilled you are not getting the benefits, you are not getting the results. So that's what we are looking for in all of our partners, including Privanet as well. When we had discussions with different companies organizing crowdfunding in Finland, it was very visible the great spirits and the this kind of enthusiasm what they had regarding this thing, and that's very important for us. We like to work with that kind of people. Of course, certifications are very important. So we have all the imaginable certifications. First of all, we got end of waste. For example, here in Sweden, if you are making out of the dented apples, you are making a juice, the producer needs end of waste approval to say that the juice is not more waste, it's juice. So we needed that for our operation as well. When we got that, then it was fairly straightforward to get the European Union easy fertilizer status. And then we are also approved for the organic farming according to the European Union legislation. And then we have also the Czech Republic's certification, and then we are now seeking the application or the certification for US, which we should get by March. So that's very important. And then one thing what we have learned from Berner is that when you are making a new fertilizer, no matter if it's from here, any fertilizer, you have a new product for the market. There are three things which are important for the farmer, and that way also for the distributor and fertilizer manufacturers, who are all of our potential partners or our customers. So first is that biological effectivity. So it needs to have a good effect on the growth of the crops. Okay, for that we have had product testing be made. Of course, Berner has been doing testing a lot in great deal in Finland, but also we wanted to have some independent testing. Now that US is one of our target markets, and basically the only way to go to the market is to have independent licensed testers to do the testing over there. We have had those plus then the Kansas University for the wheat to make testing in US, and the results are very, very good. So there's no question about the biological efficiency or the effectivity of our product. Well, the second is then the purity, the cleanness. You don't want any of these harmful heavy metals what are in here in the end product. And it's, by the way, it's the same if you are mining it. Still, you have to make sure that there's no cadmium or nickel and so on. And for that, well, we all know that in the Nordics, the officials can be quite strict. At least they can be in Finland. So Evira, who's overlooking all the chemical factories, for example in Finland, they had to approve our self-control mechanism. And that's including, for example, 100% inspection by the outside accredited laboratory for each batch what we are selling of the goods. And anyone buying those can get these test results from this outside test facility together with the batch what they are buying. So there's no question about these 2 out of 3 issues. Well, the third is that it needs to be also mechanically efficient and functional, meaning that it can't block the nozzles when it's being used by the farmers on their spraying equipment. Or if you are storing it on the shelf somewhere, let's say over the winter or something like that, you are not getting a thick sedimentation on the bottom. But you can just pour it into the tank, the tractor, and do the thing, and there won't be any difficulties. And we've been doing testing a lot with that, and absolutely there's no difficulties. So that's actually one of the, let's say, really good points about our product compared to the ones that are being used in Finland most heavily, that those were the kind of a carbonate-based products. You could really see a thick layer on top of crops, for example, when applicating it, and those were also causing some sedimentation and blockages on the nozzles quite easily. Not always, but quite easily, and ours is not doing it. So we basically paid our attention to these 3 items what Berner told us that are important if you really want to succeed on the market. So we've done that.
But this product you apply to the product, apply to the land first, not to the land, not to the products.
Like this.
Ah, like this, okay, to the
Yeah.
product itself.
Yeah. It's a foliar fertilizer. So here's a good example. It would go into these leaves.
Oh.
And that is around the world has been noted that the reason why more and more foliar fertilizers are used, because according to the independent studies, when you apply a certain amount of, for example, zinc to the ground or to the leaf, you get 50% more of this product inside the plant for the use of the plant. So you get basically more with less. And that's why it's kind of a, well, it makes sense from resource usage point of view and all that. So it's a foliar fertilizer, and of course we are not inventors of foliar fertilizing. It's been used years and years. It's just that more and more of it's being used today than let's say 5 years ago. So what we have now that we've done all that is that we really have this world's only recycled and clean zinc and manganese based foliar fertilizer, and it's the most economical in its class, And then you might ask that why are the people buying that? I have a couple of examples. One is a question for you guys. I'm going to ask this from you, and you're my guinea pigs. Let's see how this goes. Think about the fact that you are selecting an electrical package for your home, and you have two choices. I don't know if it's the same here in Sweden, but in Finland we can select whatever electrical package we want, and these are exactly the same service, same reliability. Everything is the same. Even the price is the same. The only difference is that this other package has been produced using traditional methods. There's coal, there's nuclear power, there's natural gas, some imported electricity. Then this other package, it's 100% Nordic hydropower. Now I would like you to raise hand who's selecting out of these packages this basic package. Yeah, and that's the same thing what I'm getting whether I'm in California, whether I'm in Turkey, whether I'm in Kazakhstan or anywhere in Europe. That's the case. And another way of illustrating that is that I was in US visiting big, well, I don't know if it's a big farm over there, but several thousands of hectares of farmland. And initially they were a little bit not very interested, but then I said right away that I'm not a snake or salesman. I'm not saying that our product will do magic tricks, because it won't, but instead of that you are getting the same excellent results what you are getting with the other premium level foliar fertilizers. But in addition to that, you get the fact that it's the only one in the world where the zinc and manganese are recycled and it's clean. As such, it's a perfect example of a circular economy. It's a perfect fit for sustainable farming, which is very big in US. I also said then that in Finland we are seeking for a approval for the organic farming. Now we of course have it. But I said that basically if you see benefit with these additional things, then it might be a thing for you. And then the gentleman started thinking right away that okay, well there's two small supermarket chains in US, Tesco and Walmart, hardly 100,000 stores, very small ones. They are not buying from them because they cannot meet the sustainability code. And could this kind of a fertilizer which is recycled, could this help them fulfilling their code? And then his son said that he knows a wine producer who's paying $50 more per metric ton of grapes if they've been produced using recycled fertilizers. So I don't know how much really a farmer in US is thinking about saving the world, but for sure they are in US or in Turkey or in Finland, and for sure in Sweden too. They are thinking about how they can fulfill the requirements of the consumers who are getting more and more aware of the climate issues and environmental issues. And it's actually them who are making the decision what kind of fertilizers are used, not the fertilizer salesmen or fertilizer manufacturers or distributors. It's the consumers. And the awareness is rising all the time around the world. And that has been very pleasing to see that no matter where I go and discuss about that, this is always over there. One again from US, a good example was that one purchasing, well actually he was the CEO of a purchasing organization owned by several distributors and fertilizer manufacturers. And he said that he had been just the previous day in a seminar in US where they had been discussing about the future of the farming in US. And there had been a lot of discussions about the circular economy and these ecological things and all that. And he saw immediately this. Now he's number one potential for us over there. So he saw right away that okay, This is very exciting because I don't know if we can make money with that today, but whether it's going to be 1 year, 2 years, or 3 years, when it's really a must, basically, to have something like that. That's what the consumers are paying for. They are not buying something else, but they are buying for that. They are paying for environmentally friendly products. And that's why they saw this as really a nice way to differentiate from the others and to be there ready on the market when this is really becoming a bigger issue in US as well. Okay, this is about the product. Then we have...
Question about the product.
Yes.
So it's not replacing other fertilizers, it's improving the quality of or the effect of other fertilizers. Was that correct?
Yes, it's replacing those other conventionally made zinc and manganese based fertilizers.
But only the part of the fertilizer which is the manganese.
Yes,
so it's not
yes.
the entire product.
No.
And you said it's approved for ecological
Organic
production,
farming.
Organic farming. So do you spray that before you spray? You
On
put
the
out
salads.
the manure, or do you put that on afterwards?
On the product.
It depends. Yeah, I don't actually know where the manure is. I think that goes to the ground before anything has grown up.
Yeah.
So that goes first. And then this actually, when this is applied, it's really when you see some green, like in here. You know, this could be then 1 meter high and different color and all that later on. But you spray it here, and you are not spraying only that, but you are spraying pesticides, different kind of other liquid fertilizers, and this is one of those going at the same time.
But
So
not on a biological farming.
yes, you can use it for
Yeah.
anything, but it's approved for the organic farming. Yes. And then of course those who have organic farms, like more and more in Finland, the farms are converting to organic farming just because people are more and more demanding it. So of course they have to see that the other fertilizers also are approved for the organic farming.
I mean, at some point in time, if I'm a farmer, I will have to make a business case. I mean, to what extent, if I mean, it's not enough to say, yeah, in the long run, it's the same product, or we're benefiting you, or saving the world, or whatever. But at the same point, there should be a business case how much profitable it would be for me.
Yeah.
Because still, I have to use the other fertilizers.
Right.
You know, and I don't know whether you have done these kind of studies to see how would the poor farmer who would use your products enhance the quality of the product and at the same time get more profit so that they can feed their families.
That's a very good point, and that's of course the most important thing. Well, the good thing is that we don't actually have to do that because every single farmer has different kind of a land, different kind of a crops, and this is not something new. I mean, zinc and manganese based foliar fertilizers, you can buy hundreds of them around the world. So basically we are not teaching or trying to convince the farmer that you should use this. They already use this. But now we are the only ones who can provide for the same price. You know, this electrical package thing again. It's not that you should use something that you get more out of your land. They already do it, but they have the conventional fertilizers. Now we just say that, okay, now you get the same performance for the same money, but at the same time you have these bonuses of ecological things and organic and so on. So that is
So
the
that's a
case.
competitive edge.
That's the competitive edge.
Also, one thing is that it's easy to spray because I think competitors' same product is not so easy to spray. It's going to be stuck in those pipes. So that's one thing what is also beneficial.
It comes in liquid form.
Yeah. And liquid foliar fertilizers, zinc and manganese fertilizers have been used long time already, and there's hundreds of suppliers, so there's nothing new on that, and that's actually very good for us because it was a very good question from you, and if we actually had to teach farmers that or convince them that yes, you should try something new, it would be very difficult for us. But this is not new, so they already are using it. It's only a matter of whether they are using the conventionally manufactured one or this one, which is the world's most ecological of its kind.
Of course, but from a business perspective, it will make more sense if your product is a bit cheaper than the other one. Not only that it has the same qualities, but for it to be to have better market share, it's for it to have relatively cheaper compared to the conventional one, plus all the benefits. I mean, this is a pricing issue, a marketing issue.
I was thinking about the benefits. So, are there results that using your fertilizers would sort of improve the crop or make it bigger or make it grow faster or something beneficial using your product?
Yeah, that's a good point. We have those independent studies from US, and additionally, of course, we have these studies what Berner has made in Finland already during the past 3 years. So yeah, they are very beneficial, and actually they show that our product is performing extremely well even compared to the competition. But I always just like to say that it's equally good as the other premium level foliar fertilizers are, but then you have these additional bonuses. But the benefits of using this kind of a zinc and manganese based foliar fertilizer, those are known for the farmers, and that's a good thing because they already now are using those, they know the benefits. So now we just needed to basically show them exactly what you were asking, that is our product as well effective. And for that we did these independent studies now in US to be able to say that yes, just like the other premium level zinc and manganese foliar fertilizers are effective, this is too.
But your main target group is not the farmer. You don't intend to sell it to the farmer yourself, so you need to convince Gullviks to sell your product instead of Bayer's products.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, and the reason is that I've lived 7 years abroad and I've seen it, worked some of it and studied some of it, and it's very easy to see that whenever, for example, to a farmer, someone goes and sells something, they really need to know the local requirements and not only requirements for the farmer, but the requirements by the law and by these supermarket chains that are buying the goods from them. So someone really need to be local and know the local requirements, and because of that we seek for the best professionals and who are enthusiastic about this kind of a thing for each country. Yes, that's what we are doing. So we are not convincing the farmer, but we need to convince the Gullviks, etc. Yes.
You could tell also about the price for yourself, because of course these are investors, so you have to be able to manufacture the end product at cheap price. So I think that's what you have to compare to the another products.
Yes, it's a good question, and now considering that this will go live all over the place, so you can download it from there, and it could be our competitor seeing it. But let's put it this way, that you can think about the conventional producers. They are mining it, and we can say that they are burning gasoline and dynamite, and we are basically sweeping the floors and getting these. They need a process anyway after mining also to get these minerals into the form that they can be utilized by the crops. We are actually getting paid for the raw material. All over Europe we are getting paid for this. Now we have not taken that into consideration in our financial calculations, because in Mexico they don't have to pay, well, they are not getting money for that, but they have to pay for the freight to get it in. And in some other country, they are getting it for free. But here in Europe, we are getting money together with the raw
Who
material.
is giving the money?
The
government?
No, actually, it's there's a law in Europe for each of the country that the manufacturers and importers of the batteries, they have to take care by law of the recycling of 50%.
Okay.
And so it's it's us consumers paying it as part of this battery cost. And then it's these manufacturers and importers who are paying for these collectors and operators in each country to handle it.
So, I mean, to make it a bit simple, I think for everybody, your business model then is, on the one hand, you would sell the technology.
Yes.
That's your main business model.
Yes.
Plus, eventually, your own production in certain countries.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. And now the factory is running in Finland. So now we can already sell the end product, and we have sold to Finland and the Baltics. And we have sent, since 1st of June, roughly, that we got the certification. I spent, during the next 4 weeks, I was overseas. And based on that trip, we sent some 360 liters of samples to these potential partners. And that's something what we are now going through. So trying to convince these Gulviks around the world to be our partners. And I have always said that, finding the right partner is really something where you just have to go through and see enough of those so that you are finding one that really wants to be in the deal, who really want to see that, okay, this kind of a product, this electrical example, same excellent results, same cost, but then these bonuses, who sees something over there, to utilize in the future and to differentiate themselves out of the others in the competition. So that's what we are doing now in each country. And when we are doing it, and that's actually a good way to go forward, because we are running out of time as well, is that to get our company to this turnover level, at the yearly level, we've done pre-sale studies. So we have utilized the FinPro. It's done part of Team Finland, again a government organization helping the companies to internationalize. And I've used them a lot in my previous works as well. So we did a pre-sale study 1 to 24 countries in which we studied how much there is, how much of what crops are grown in each country, what is the competition over there, what is the cost level, what is the legislation to be able to sell our product over there, how about to manufacture our product, is there some laws regarding the recycling of the batteries? How about importing the batteries from another country, and so on. So out of the 24 countries, we have 30 to 130 page reports, based on which we then selected the countries to where we are going, and also then the countries to where we are not going. And those where we are going ahead with the pre-sale study too. It means that it's basically a 1-week trip during which we are meeting first the party or the government body which is providing the certification to sell the product in that country. Then you are meeting also the government body that's providing investment subsidies if someone is investing into this kind of environmentally friendly new technology. And there are countries in Europe, like Czech Republic, where they can offer 50% grants for this kind of a new green technology. Then the second day we are going to meet the farmers, I want to hear from them firsthand what they are looking for, what's important for them. Then the following day we meet the distributors. Then the following day we meet the collectors or the recyclers of the batteries, if those are present. And then we meet the fertilizer manufacturers. So that's the pre-sale study too. And after that we have a long list of companies narrowed down. And we basically know which one of these companies would like to get engaged with us and who just are not interested. So that's what we do. And of course a big opener of the doors for us has been now these certifications, because trying to go there last year, for example, we didn't have the factory ready. We didn't have the certifications. We didn't have the independent studies about the biological effectivity. And because we didn't have these, we couldn't say, well, we could say that the product will be clean, but we didn't have a proof of that. So it was kind of a, just learning, but not really doing. But now since June, having these, it's really a different thing. Now we are really picking up the pace, and it's been very rewarding in a way to meet potential partners and customers around the world. Like I said earlier, we are discussing in 5 countries about the technology delivery. So that's ongoing now. And of course, now since we got the certifications, like I mentioned, we have these 2 distributor contracts already made. And these will be, of course, made now all the time more and more when we go further. The good thing about us being kind of at the right time and also in the right place, in a way that in Nordics these issues really are taken seriously, and it's not only here in the Nordics or in the Europe where people can appreciate these kind of things. When being in the US again, and I spoke about this technology and the product, and they said very frankly that the fact that you are coming from the Nordics and you're coming from Finland, we believe you. But if I came from some other country, I won't even name, it might be a different story. So it really is a great thing to come from the Nordics, and the timing is right. I mean, how many of you have heard about discussions about the climate issues on TV news during the past 2 weeks? Yeah, all the time, and getting more and more. And it's the same thing around the world, basically, surprisingly. So even in the US, Trump hasn't made them be quiet, not all of them at least. So it's a big issue. It's good to be at the right time moving. And of course what we can do now is just to continue the work and go through all these countries and the potential companies that we have identified during our pre-sale studies. And not only that, but let's say during the past month or so, we've been probably on each major newspaper in Finland somehow. Some days in 5 different newspapers in Finland, thanks to Privanet, and then just people finding out more about us, live radio shows, Radio Rock, and then some other thing, and then morning tea was 2 weeks ago, and so on. So now it works so that also the grapevine is working. I'm getting contacts not every day but every week, more than one, about the companies who would like to present our product or be our partners somewhere globally. And well, today I've gotten a call from Canada, for example. So that's working. Seminars. Last week I was in Athens. There was a Argus seminar for the fertilizers, which is the biggest in the world, in Europe. and very, very good discussions. And also one American one, and they had even been hearing about us. So the grapevine is working now nicely. So I can't really compare exactly our invention to that one, but there are some similarities anyway. Like one, his colleague said that, okay, does it mean that we are taking the fertilizer here to the moon? No, but it means that we are, anyway, in principle, comparing to that, we are one step away from the breakthrough. So what we've done is that during the past 6 years, there's been a lot of R&D work and the development work and the, this kind of a business development, so that we have reached the status where we can now fulfill the value statement to all of our partners. So we can deliver them that value statement. And because of that, now we've gone further and started the commercializing and internationalization. So, and that's rather new process. We were able to start that fully in June when we got the certifications. But now we can go ahead full scale. And then of course the strong growth is over there coming too. And the nice thing is that during these past 2 years that I've been on board and I've been doing this work together with my team, our team, there hasn't been anything over there in the world that would show somehow that our initial ideas and expectations would be wrong. Instead, we are going very steadily and very nicely towards our vision to be the most acknowledged micronutrient company in the global circular economy. And these turnover figures and the profit figures, they are online. So that's very comforting for us.
Which are the biggest competitors right now? If you would just mention some companies, would that be like Yara or? Yeah.
There we go. The world's biggest company, fertilizer company.
It's Norwegian, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, unfortunately they are Norwegian now. They bought this from Finland. Very cheap too. Yeah, when you think about this kind of a zinc and manganese foliar fertilizers, there are hundreds of companies who are producing those. The good thing about that is, excuse me?
But not from batteries.
No, absolutely not from batteries and not from recycled material, so that it could be clean.
I understand.
So that is the good point. So we have a lot of competition if you think about what it does, but no competition whatsoever if you think about the ecological side, the recycling side, or the circular economy.
So Sweden is one of the smallest agricultural countries in Europe, and you still decide to spend your time visiting us.
Yeah, because
So just because it's only an hour's flight away, or is
Well-
there another reason to be here?
no, I told you the reason. The reason is because I'm divorced and I want to learn Swedish, so I need to find a Swedish-speaking girlfriend, you know.
Yeah, that's a good way to
Yeah,
Yeah, a good way to answer that. No, but as I link to that question, and it's also I think I have been working a little bit with agricultural issues, and lately I was in South Africa, and where you have, we're talking about the wine
Yeah.
industry, and probably there you may investigate with the wine growers about your product. Could be something interesting. But
Good point.
globally, people are getting away out of agriculture. Although the need is there for food security and for all these aspects and so on, there are all other alternative ways. Today we're talking a lot about urban farming. We are talking about vertical farming. We are talking about all type of the other types of farming. And this is one aspect, I think, which you may have thought. The other thing is, I think for any business model to work and to be profitable, it is dangerous to think that a product will be sold based on government subsidies
Mhm.
Okay, and
Yeah.
this is a very very wrong assumption, because you can't get a product with the hope that government will subsidize the buyers to buy it for you for ecological reasons. I think a product should stand on its own, independent of. The third aspect is agriculture, even in Europe, is heavily subsidized. If there were no subsidy in the agricultural sector in Europe, the whole sector will die. Okay, and it is a well-protected area. And that's why you have products from South Africa, from Africa, from the developing world, having difficulties to enter the European market because of the protectionist issues.
Right.
So I don't know to what extent these will be able to help these poor farmers.
Yeah. No, very good point. And the good thing about these foliar fertilizers, liquid foliar fertilizers, is that they are working better on dry conditions compared to these ground applied fertilizers. So actually, yes, you're right, Africa is important for us. Citrus, for example, is grown a lot for the European purposes in Africa, Northern Africa. Our product is over there being tested by one Italian company at the moment, and in Morocco. And they are seeing it as an excellent possibility for the citrus growth in North Africa. And also they are using a lot of batteries. Recycling is not over there yet, but all the time more and more is paid emphasis on that part as well. And for example, in Mexico, we are discussing over there about the technology transfer. And they are not at the moment collecting enough batteries in Mexico to feed one plant. But when visiting over there, visiting the officials, visiting two companies, private companies, who are working with electrical appliance, waste collection and that. And then also this consultant that we are using, we visited two other neighboring states after that visit. In each of these places, they said that within 1 year, no problems whatsoever, they can get enough of this recycling in operation to feed fully one plant. So there's a lot of awareness, and when there's a lot of people, there are a lot of batteries. And it was a good point about these subsidies. We have never ever taken any subsidies regarding, for example, what I mentioned about the Czech Republics, 50% grant, at the max. We have never taken these into consideration while calculating the payback times for the customer. You are right. We believe the same way. We have to be very open and frank on these things when we are presenting these to the customers, and that's why we are never taking any grants or subsidies into play. What the farmers are doing in Finland or Sweden, I don't know. But
if they grant of there, that's fine, but it should not be part of the model.
Yeah, we are not. Yeah,
It should be exogenous.
that's a good point.
Can't be, as the Swedish subsidies are 3 years late to the farmers.
Okay.
Technological
In
problems.
Sweden there's no farming anymore.
And
Sorry
about-
to interrupt. Just thinking time management here.
Yes.
There are only a few slides left. And let's finish with the questions at the end of the presentation. If anyone wants to leave or you stay, please stay.
That's the final one.
All of that. And we also received a few questions from our listeners online. So we start with those, and then we can sit together as a group and discuss further.
Very, very fast answer to the question why we are here in Sweden. So, like Christopher said, so we are doing cooperation with Funded by Me. We are also Privanet is having the Funded by Me brand in Finland. So we are really deeply doing the cooperation, and because we made this round already, this is successful case. So we have raised the 2.6 million euros in Finland. So it's just that we can now present it also here in Sweden, that if somebody wants to join, so you are free to come, but it's still successful already based on Finnish investors. So no, we are not trusting only Swedish investors.
You're welcome anyhow.
Now, a little secret I can tell you from the strategy point of view, we are thinking of having a 51% owned company here in Sweden, close to Göteborg over there, because that's an excellent seaway to the Asia, and also it's within Europe, but outside of Euro. So from the risk management point of view, it's a really, really good option for us. So we are hoping to have the factory here in Sweden as well, and with the 51% ownership on that. But that's also one of the reasons why we might be here. And second thing is that when we are going global, actually it would be very nice to have investors globally investing to our company. That's why we have in the webinar invitation, people from around the world. Because whether I'm going to US or UK or Turkey or Kazakhstan or whatever, if I can tell that this company is partly owned by you guys here, it's always of course a little bit more interesting, and we get more visibility, and so that's one of the reasons too. Okay, final slide is that we have heard about what we've done. And we are ready right there, one step away from the surface of the moon, so to say. We are right now ready to go forward, but we need, of course, for that a very strong pace, and we need to go there with a great determination, so that we can get the best benefits out of this innovation, which is really unique. We have excellent technological lead to anyone in the world. We want to maintain that, we want to increase that, and we want to go overseas so strongly that by the time some countries maybe in the Far East are copying us, we already have the second and third generation to put into place, and our name is already over there on everybody's lips. So that's what we are doing, and we are hoping that you would join our trip as our owners. That would be a privilege for us, and please grow with us. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Let's do a few questions online. We had
Okay.
and I believe they hear us. They all could hear you when you ask questions.
Okay,
In front
good,
of us, so
good.
the little mic works.
Okay, perfect.
You may have answered these from some of the questions, but I asked them anyway.
Okay.
One mentioned smelters as
Yes.
a competitor. And how do you compete with them on price for the batteries to be scrapped?
Right.
Is the question.
Yeah. The price, what we are providing here in Europe, for example, it's less than what the smelters are requesting. It's kind of a new thing, and it depends on the party to whom we are selling the factory. But for example, in Finland, we have agreed with our partner who's providing the black mass to us about the price, which is clearly lower than what they would have to pay to the smelters, and additionally they would have to pay for the logistics. Because it's an agreement between the two companies, I can't disclose the figure, but it's less, and it's also saving the logistics.
Okay, very good. Next question. Would you consider establishing a plant in Asia or China? If so, what is the expense you estimate, and how long could it take to build or to be in the market over there?
Okay, yeah, that's a good question. Of course, we will think about that, no question about it. It takes, from the time that the signature is made, 9 to 12 months for the turnkey delivery of the factory. The cost of the factory, dependent on the kind of extent or the range, what you are wanting to include on that, it's in between 10 to 50 million. Average being somewhere 12.5 million per factory. And so far, in all the studies what we've done with the potential buyers, the payback time for them has been 3-something years. So very, very lucrative.
Last question.
Okay.
Before we end the stream. Pronunciation here. Pöyry.
Pöyry. Yeah.
Your potential partner for the US market. There are many US EPC contractors. Is Pöyry your potential partner for the US market?
Now, Pöyry is our partner for design works and protecting any factory anywhere in the world where we are selling it. Now, Pöyry as a partner, so that we would have a common factory somewhere, this is something what we haven't really discussed. But it's clear that if in US there's a party who wants to buy our factory, like at the moment there is actually a couple of them, then it will be Pöyry who's delivering the factory for them.
Very good. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. Nice being here.
We'll end the presentation there. Hope you enjoyed it. Goodbye.
Thank you. Bye.